and welcome to the end of week 2. We're looking forward to moving on to week 3, but before we do, I want to focus on some of the comments that have been made in the discussions. First of all, before we start, I would like to thank you all for your enthusiastic participation in those exchanges. We've had over 900 comments, and as I said before, some of the best learning takes place in those discussions. This is a social learning class, and you've proven that there's so much to learn from each other, from learners, and also from the facilitators. So thank you. The first topic that I saw coming up in the discussions was reflecting on logic models. The observation was made several times that different organizations use different terminology, different vocabulary, different components and structures for their logic models. That's both the theory of change, the results framework, the objective statements, and the levels of the log frames. Some people use 4 levels in their objective statements, others use 5. Some use the term measurement methods, others use other means of verification. I want to reflect on this by pulling up a document that I really like. It was developed by Jim Brew, previously of CARE, but now recognized as one of the leaders in evaluations in our sector. He calls this the Rosetta Stone of project logical frameworks. And what you have is a number of organizations in the column to the left. He was working at CARE when he developed this, so you have the CARE, but you also have Peace Corps, USAID, DANITA, DFID, Canadian International Development Agency, JTZ of Germany, EU, you get the idea. You will see that they all have different number of levels in their log frame and different vernacular that they use for those levels. So what you have is quite a difference in variation in the ways people construct their logical frameworks. The point of this course is not necessarily to establish a single model that is in fact the sole way of doing things. Instead, what we're trying to do is establish a common language and understanding of concepts, whether that be the theory of change, the log frame, or other elements of MEAL that can be tailored and adapted to your systems, the systems of your donors, and the systems of your partners. Because in practice, we're all going to have to adapt over time as we work with different stakeholders and different systems in our careers. The second area I'd like to discuss has to do with questions related to the differences between a log frame and a performance management plan. As you see in the image here, and as was stated in the course, you take the objective statements out of the log frame and put it into the performance management plan. And the question came up, well, what's the difference between the two? Well, they have very different purposes. The log frame was largely developed to map out the logic of the project so you could communicate it with stakeholders. We're going to do the following, and this is why we're doing it, how we're doing it. It included some really important information for MEAL, but it is not a plan for implementing MEAL. The PMP, also called, the monitoring evaluation plan or whatever terms you use, is truly built to help you implement plan. That's its purpose. That's why it's built, and it should be comprehensive and detailed enough for you to succeed, including information like means of analysis, use of information that is missing from the log frame. So I hope that's helpful. And as always, I want to thank you for your contributions, and I look forward to joining you in Module 3.